All right, so the first section on the quiz tomorrow is just a review of systems. I'm hoping it goes well, but it does have one quadratic system, which, okay. So the first question is a solve by graphing. Do we need to do this? Tell me if I'll just go fast, okay? And you tell me if you have questions, because this is like Algebra 1E review, right? This one starts up at 4, down to and over 1. And make sure you read directions, though I think I even put a little blanks here so that you would remember to write the ordered pair. And so it would be easier for me to grade. Be careful, it's over 3 and down 2, 3, -2 where they intersect. Did I do that right, guys? Any questions? I'm not going to spend extra time on that because I think you could all do that one on your own. Okay. This is the same difference. We're just graphing, but we have to remember that if it has the equal sign under it, then it is a solid line. If it does not have the equal sign under it, then it is a dotted or dashed line. And if you are going greater or greater than, which are these, then you shade above. If you are less or less than, you shade below the line. So if I do in blue this first one, it would start down at -3. It's supposed to go down 4 and over 1. But I don't have room for that. So I'm going to go up 4 and back 1 to the left a couple times. And that one is a solid line because it has the or equal to. And it is a greater than, so I'm going to shade on the side where the y-axis points up. The second line, okay, starts up at +3, goes up 2 and over 1, or down 2 and back 1. So we found where they intersect, but that's really not what we need to know. That one is a dashed line, meaning the points on that line are not included. It is also a greater than, so I am shading where the y-axis right here goes above that line, okay? It says y values greater than that line, so it's going to be going this way from that, which leaves the double shaded is simply this little V up here. And that's what you have to make sure I can tell on your paper is that where's the double shaded. And Delta Math, you would have to give a point like -1.5 is in that region. But I don't think on the quiz I asked you for a point, because that just sounds like a whole lot of me having to figure out if it works. Questions on those? Okay, you had assignment on this, and you had notes and Delta Math on this. All right, solve by substitution, and you need to show your work that you are doing it by substitution. This one is solved for y, so you would put it into this one, in my opinion. -8x minus, oh, that's evil. I don't know that you have a negative to distribute on the quiz, but it does here. This is where the y was. I'm going to have to distribute this negative. Oh, correctly, though, unfortunately. Then if I combine these like terms, I get -13x. If I subtract 20 over there, I get -39, which divides. It should come out nice that I didn't give you any wonky ones. Someone else get that? Okay, and then you do need to answer as an ordered pair. So if you plug it back in this one, it would be 5 times 3 minus 20. 15 minus 20 is negative 5. So we got 3 for the x and negative 5 for the y. And if we plugged it in the first one, we'd get negative 24. Then it would turn into a plus 5 minus 19 is true. Okay. The easy way to check, again, is to make sure your ordered pair works in both of the equations and makes them a true statement. Questions? Okay. Solve by elimination. This is the method where you need to make either the x or y's drop out. Does anybody have a preference? Yeah, it says 5 and 10 here, so at least one of them could stay. If you were to try to get rid of the x's, you'd have to multiply them both by something, right? So what are we going to do the top equation by so that when we add it, this 10y will drop out? Yeah, we need a negative 10 up there, so we're going to multiply the whole top equation by negative 2, which will make it a positive 8x minus 10y equals negative 12. It has to go the whole way. Don't forget that last piece. And then we had a 3x plus 10y equals 23. When you add, you get 11x equals 11. So x equals 1. And then there was some confusion. I've had a couple people ask me, do I have to start over and eliminate the other variable now? No, you can just substitute this back in to any one of these equations. Oop, but put it in for the right variable. Sorry, I made it point to the wrong thing there. And that's a mistake I make all the time. Make sure your handwrite is good so you know this was an x. So I'm putting it back in for an x. I don't think these are super hard, but it certainly is easy to make a mistake, right? This is a 3, so I'm going to subtract it. I got y equals 2. Did anybody else get that? And again, that should check in both equations. If you check it and it doesn't work, you can come up and tell me, I can't find my mistake, because I know these are lengthy and you could maybe, just be missing something. I'm not going to give you the right answer, but I will tell you, I think you made a sign mistake here or something, okay? Now, this is the ones I'm most worried about on this section, is you have to solve algebraically. Now, be very clear. You can graph, this is a parabola, this is a line, you can graph it on your calculator and find the point or points of intersection. But you're going to have to show me the algebra to support that, okay? So make sure you can check it if you need to. I would just do substitution. I'm going to put this in here. So it's going to say negative x minus 2. You could have gone the other direction. Doesn't write the same equation. 3x squared plus 2x minus 8. It has a squared, so I need what? I need to get it to 0. So I'm going to add an x and a 2 so that it says 0 equals 3x squared plus 3x minus 6. Did someone else get that? What should I do first then? Can I take out a 3? X squared plus x minus 2. And I can actually divide that 3 out, because 3 will never equal 0. So I could have divided everything by 3, including the 0. Then this will factor, oh, nice, x and x, and 2 and 1. I need a positive 1 in the middle, so positive 2 and negative 1 to get a negative 2 at the back. So I get x could be negative 2 or 1. Please remember those are the x values, so write those right away as an ordered pair where those are the x's, because then when you plug them back in, you won't get confused what goes with what. So for this one, I would have y equals the opposite of negative 2 minus 2. I'm plugging them in here. Doesn't that become 2 minus 2 is 0? Does that work in the other one? That'd be 4, 12 plus negative 4 would be 8, minus 8 would be 0. Yeah, that one works in the other one. Just checking I did it right. And then this one would be y equals negative, and then we'd put the 1 in, minus 2. I got negative 3. Let's see, if I put a 1 in here, I'd get 3, plus 2 is 5, minus 8 is negative 3. It seems to work in both. We good? I think the reason I put 2 of these on here, isn't number 6 another one of these? I think it's because it's possible to have only one solution, and I think number 6 has one solution. So I'll go ahead and do that one real quick. But if you put the x minus 8 in here, it'll say x minus 8 equals 2x squared minus 15x plus 24. If I subtract the x and add the 8, I get a 2x squared minus 16x plus 32. Did I do that right, guys? Take out a 2. And then it will, I can leave the 2 if you want, but it'll factor x minus 4 and x minus 4. And that's why it only has one solution, because 2 can't equal 0, and the solution for each of these is just 4, right? So the only place they intersect has an x value of 4, and then if I put it back in there, I just get a negative 4. Did anybody get that? 32 minus 60 sounds like negative 24 plus, no. 32 minus 60, oh, it would be 28 plus 24, yep. It works, I think. In my little pea brain, it worked anyway. Then the next, I think this is the next standard, right? Did I mark it on there or not? It is. This is like standard 6.2 or something. It's a separate 5-point grade. All right. What are the dimensions of this matrix? 3, remember, it goes across by 2 up and down. And you can write it with by or a little x. That's fine too. All right. Number 8, if matrix A is a 4 by 2 and matrix B is a 2 by 6, is it possible to find the product? And if so, what would the dimensions be? If you weren't here yesterday, this is what we did, but matrix multiplication works as long as these line up in the middle. And so this is yes. And the dimensions will be the outside, so 4 by 6. Ooh, I'm glad we don't have to write that down. That's a lot of numbers, 4 by 6. Okay? If you weren't here yesterday, the video covered more than just that. So if you skimmed your way through the first 15 minutes of the video, you would get a better idea of matrix multiplication. All right. Then there is a word problem, because it's on the final, I think. I had to leave it as a word problem, but it says, given the initial inventory matrix for a store, so this is our initial inventory at the store, and the matrix for an outgoing shipment of supplies to a customer, find the updated inventory of our store. Okay, so if this went out, are we adding it or subtracting it? Subtracting for this one. So each entry gets subtracted. Do I need to write out what I'm doing, guys? 100 minus 10 is 90. Top right, 25 minus 12 is 13. Is everybody following, or I need more? We did this, I think. 13 minus 3 is 10. And 50 minus 40 is 10. Everybody good? You can certainly write out some steps if you don't know where those came from. I think because the versions of the quiz, I think one might be add, one might be subtract. So I did put another one on here showing you that it's not always subtracting. It says this was an initial inventory at our store. And then a shipment of supplies came in to our store. It says came in here, so that means we're adding them. So 51 and 11 is 62. 2 plus 2 is 4. 3 plus 6 is 9. And 40 plus 7 is 40. Did I do it right, guys? Did I make any mistakes on either one of them? The good news is, generally, if you're talking inventory, you don't have negative numbers, right? So that won't mess us up, hopefully, unless I mess something up writing the question. All right, this should be the easiest question on the quiz. Just write the augmented matrix. So remember, it's going to go X, Y, Z, and this little dotted line to show what it's equal to over here. No, you don't have to put the dotted line. I won't grade on the dotted line. But be very careful that you put in zeros if you need them. So this one is 11x minus 3y plus 4z equals 12. Then let's see, I have a 3x, but I have no y, and a minus 3z equals 0. And then a 5x, a negative 1y, 0 z's, and a 4. If it helps you, rewrite the equations with those in, but I think you guys can handle it. Good to get that one right? Okay, now we're doing the same thing, but we have to type it into our calculator and use the RREF command. So tell me what I'm going to type in. Oh, we got lots of zeros. We got 0, 2, 1, 3. Is that right, guys? The second one is 3, negative 4, 1, negative 18. This one has a negative 1x, a 5y, and no z's. Does that seem right, guys? Did anybody else have that written down? Okay. So we go to the calculator, and we go to second matrix, which is right below the math. We arrow over to edit. What size is this, guys? We have to first tell it the right size. This is going to be a 3 by 4. So 3, enter, 4, enter, and now it should have the proper number of little boxes, and you just type over anything that was in there. Proofread yourself very carefully. I hate doing it on here. It takes me forever. Okay, can someone proofread mine? 0, 3, negative 1, 2, negative 4, 5, 1, 1, 0, 3. Okay. I always write it down, and I always enter it going across, and then I proofread it going up and down. That's just my little hint. Anybody have a question? Okay. Then we quit, we go to the home screen, and we do second matrix over to math, down to the RREF or up, either way, it's choice B. And then you have to go back in and put the name of the matrix and make sure it's the one you stored it in. I did it in matrix 1, or A. Did anybody else get that? Yeah. Okay, do a math, enter, enter. Believe it or not, it works. I don't think we did something wrong. 0, 2. I think I just messed up when I wrote the question. Because we all got the same thing, right? Nobody sees a mistake I made? All right, so there's the disgusting answer. Sorry. I'm sure I just made a mistake because I wrote the questions. And so this disgusting answer for an XYZ would be negative 35 thirds, -7/3 and 23/3. I'm sure I meant it to be something nice, like 2, 1, -3 or something. They're nice on the quiz. I've already keyed the quiz, so at least I always double check that. I don't know what I did because I thought I keyed the review too. I swear I did. Okay, moving on. I'll look in a minute. Danielle's school selling tickets to a fall musical on the first day, blah, 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 blah. Find the price of an adult and the price of a student ticket, child ticket. So you're going to write X equals price, and it literally has blanks where you have to tell me this. Price of adult ticket and a price of child ticket. Please do not write adult child. Tell me what it's actually looking for. Is it the price? Remember how in Delta Math you had to pick the right one? Okay, you can't just randomly, it could be the price, the amount, the color, the weight, whatever. Okay, and then I think I gave you an easy one like this on the quiz that just says 2 sentences, so you come up with 2 equations, right? Maybe? 8 adult tickets, so those cost X each, so 8X, and 14 children's tickets that cost Y each, so 14Y, brought in $114 that first, or one day anyway, first day it said. Then the school took in $21, so that's the total the second day, which was 2 adults, so 2X, and 1 child. You do have to solve. Can I just not solve, guys? Did anybody already do this question? Or you could do it as a matrix, right? I'm not going to know the difference. It doesn't have to be algebraically. If you were to do it as a matrix, you could do RREF of a little 2 by 3, yes? 8, 14, 114, 2, 1, 21. You can also quickly do it algebraically. It's not that bad. I think you get... yep, I don't know. Is Y like 10? I don't know. I'm moving on. I'm going to assume you could solve it. All right. Do you have this other sheet then? Tomorrow you have to do a retake on 3.4. My only promise to you is, if you get a 4 on the retake and you had a 5 the first time, you make a little mistake this time, and you got a 5 the first time, I'll give you the 5, okay? Because I know we don't have a lot of time to come back and retake these. But if you got a 5 the first time and you get a 3 this time or something, that means there's a concept you really don't get. So, all right. When you see 2 logs and they're not one on each side, okay, the only time you can get rid of the logs is if it says like the log of A equals the log of B. That's called the 1-to-1 property, okay? This is not a 1-to-1 property. You cannot move over one of them and make it a 1-to-1 property because you have a number here that does not have a log. But for this one, condense would mean multiply because it's at plus. Gonna need to eventually distribute that, but for now, I'm just writing it as multiplication. Okay, this is where, to get rid of this log, you need to rewrite it. Yes. It was passed out yesterday. It's over by the pencil sharpener over there. There should be some extra copies, Riley, okay? Were you here and I didn't mark you absent? Okay. A little further to the left, maybe, is there a stack of papers? Did you find one? Yep, okay. Guys, some of you, a lot of you are missing this, so I'm going to teach you the Mr. Hardy method that maybe you remember if you can't remember my way. You're supposed to rewrite this as 5 to the 4th equals this mess. But remember this business, exponents and logs undo each other? So it's okay to do it this way, to write this and then say that undoes, and I have left. And over here, what am I going to write? 5 to the 4th, okay? That's my method too, except I don't usually show it with a big old 5. All right, so then distributing, we have 22x minus 11 equals, I think that's 625. Someone can check me. If we add 11 over there, we get 636, and then I'm going to need help. Does that divide nicely by 22? Or even if it doesn't, that's our answer. Can I do a math enter enter to get a nice answer? I kind of remember that disgusting answer. I would take a decimal to the nearest hundredth there. Okay. Do you want to give it to me? Is it 90? Okay. All right, this one says you're going to get a decimal to the nearest hundredth, most likely. But what do we do first? I just want to cry. Do not multiply 5 times 3. Do what? Divide the 5 over here. So we have 3 to the x over 2 equals 37 over 5. I'm too lazy to even figure out what that is. And if it rounds, you don't want to round it anyway. Now my unknown is in the exponent. So I need to take the log of both sides. Is there a particular kind I need to do here? No, it's not base E anywhere, right? There's no E's. So you can do any kind you want, either log or ln. That will bring this exponent in front. So I have an x over 2 times the log of 3 equals a log of 37 over 5. Now what? This is an algebra 1 equation, guys. They may not know what log is, but they know how to solve to get rid of multiplying. You do what? Divide. That leaves an x over 2, which if you type all this in, I don't know what you get. That's not what I'm doing. I want to push this one. What was it? Log of 37 over... And then close parenthesis divided by the log of 2, right? 3? Thank you. Okay, and then when we're all done, we got to get rid of a divided 2, so we need to multiply by 2. So it was 1.82 and then 3.64. Any questions? All right. This says an exact answer. That's really the hint to the fact that you're not taking the log of both sides here. Used to think students thought these were easy. Not anymore. It's not going well for most of you this year. These are both powers of what number? And please don't say 16. They're both powers of 2, right? So 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 is 16. And then another 2 would give you 32. So how many 2's did it take to get to 16? 4 to get to 16. And 5 to get to 32, right? Now, just so we're clear on why this is working, when you have the same base, there's a one-to-one property that says then the exponents are equal. Since these are both the same base, we can set the exponents now equal. And the exponents are being multiplied. Everybody's clear on that? So we have 5x, 5 times x right there, equals, and over here we have a 4 times an x plus 6. A lot of you got to this point and just didn't distribute. Okay? Make sure you put that x plus 6 in a parenthesis so that you remember you have to distribute it. That was the most common mistake. I got 24. Did someone else get 24? Okay. Questions? All right. This one is going to be someone that we can get rid of the log because there's a log on everything and there's a log on each side. But we have to condense first. So what is a minus going to become? So we have the log base 4 of 24x over the quantity 5x plus 3 equals the log base 4 of 3. Then we can get rid of the log. So we have 24x over 5x plus 3 equals 3 over 1. If you're like me and you like to think of it as a cross multiply. Again, distributing might be an issue if you're not careful. 3 times the quantity 5x plus 3. I think it's 1. Does it come out 1? Anybody else get 1? And 1 doesn't make anything negative, right? We'd have the log base 4 of 24 minus the log base 4 of, we put a 1 in there, 8 equals log base 4 of 3. 24 divided by 8 would be 3. That seems to work. All right, number 5 is a U substitution question. It says replace U with an e to the x. So it's going to be minus 9u minus 2 equals 0, and there's a 5. What is an e to the x, e to the 2x become in terms of u? A u squared, yep. This is not as fun as sum to factor, but if we put the 5 there and the 2 at the back, that would give us 5u squared is only a 5u and a 1u. The only way to get a 2 is a 2 and a 1, and I think if we put it, that's a 1u, not a 4. It looks like a 4. If we make that a negative 10u, and this a positive 1u, that's a u. It still looks like a 4 to me. Okay, then we get the negative 9 in the middle. Okay, I'm going to go quickly here. If you set this equal to 0, you would get a negative 1/5. And you set this equal to 0, you get a 2. Was there a u in the original question? No. It said u equals e to the x. So we have to replace each of these with an e to the x. So we get e to the x equals negative 1/5 and e to the x equals 2. We're trying to solve for x. What do you have to do when x is in the exponent? Take a log. If it has an e, you want to use natural log. So we're going to do the natural log. And this is going to move out front. And the natural log of e is just 1. But when you try to type natural log of negative 1/5, is it going to work? Nope, that one's garbage because you can't take the log of a negative number. Okay, over here, when you do natural log of e to the x equals the natural log of 2, this guy moves out front. Now, before you typed it in your calculator, it was exactly the natural log of 2. After you typed it in, it is, anybody have it yet? Okay. I may have forgotten to put that on the retake tomorrow. You'll find out. I did shorten by 1 question what's on the retake, so if one of those doesn't show up on the retake, don't be shocked. All right, we have not done a lot of these where it's asking you to find the rate. But it's the same as the last quiz with the X in the different spots, okay? If Connell invests $2,000 and it grows to $3,500 after 10 years with an interest being compounded continuously, which means we're using this guy. Whoops. The RT are up there, sorry. Find the interest rate to the nearest 1/10 of a percent. So initially there was, this is the P, this is what we wanted to get to, this is time. So $2,000 time, well, I don't know why I put parentheses, we really don't need parentheses. E to the R times 10 years, grew to 3,500. Okay, give me an example of a rate, interest rate. Throw one out there, guys. 4%. What would it likely come across as in the equation, though? 0.04. So we're looking for that kind of a number. Everybody good? We should get a little decimal, okay? And then we have to change it back to a percent. All right, what are we going to do first? Please say divide. So we have e to the r times 10. I'm going to write it as 10r. Just makes me, math teacher, feel better. You could reduce this mess, but I'm just going to leave it. Then we have to do what? Because it has an e, we want to do the natural log of each side. That'll bring the 10r out in front. 10 times r times the natural log of e, which is 1, is the natural log of this mess. Then when we type that in, we will still need to divide both sides by 10. I totally just blanked. 3,500 over 2,000. And then that number needs to be divided by 10. Okay, so 0.056. I got R equals 0.056. 3 places there because then it says as a 1/10 of a percent. Yes, you're going to move it twice and make it 5.6 because the blank here has a percent sign. All right. Am I almost out of time? Okay, I'm gonna go fast. Remove from an oven, this is the original temperature. The room is this, that's the medium. This is little t, this is what it cools to, that's the final temperature. So I would have 315 minus the room of 73 equals, the original temperature was 425 minus 73. Anybody have those already subtracted for me? What's this one? This is a 5, sorry. First step, divide, so we get 242 over 352 equals e to the negative 17k. We have not taken a log yet. Now is when you finally take the log and move this out front. So I have negative 17k times the natural log of e, which is just 1, equals whatever that crazy decimal is when you divide. We divided first, so they're both in the parenthesis. And then we're going to divide by negative 17. Can someone just tell me what decimal you got? Anybody else getting that? Yes? Oh, that's a 17. I don't know why I wrote a 12. Don't do what I wrote. It's supposed to be a 17. Now is everybody getting 0.022? Someone not getting that? Okay. Did I do something wrong?
No, I got it.
Okay.
I wrote divided by -17 with the ln and then set it. So I did it
Yes.
quickly and then I
It
got
shouldn't.
0.02.
Oh, okay. When you plug it back in, you're looking for the final temperature, okay? So you can literally use the 352 e to the negative 0.022 times 17. No, times 25. Time change to 25. And then type all that in and add the 73 over. Does anybody have an answer already? Okay. I want to set this last one up. Actually, I will stay long enough to do this last one. So anybody who wants, it is a half-life question. They're initially 350 units. This means half-life. And does it every 200 years. And we want it to get down to 100. So we are first going to divide. So we have 1/2 to the x over 200 equals 100 over 350. Yep. Going to take the log of both sides. Okay. So we have x over 200 times the log of 1/2 equals the log of. Then we're going to divide this time by a full log. Yep, perfect. X over 200 equals, and you're going to get a crazy decimal. I got 1.807 times 200 is 361.5 years. And then if you put it back in, we'll have 350 times 1/2 to the 361.5 divided by 200. I forgot.
Okay, I have to wait till he.
I got 99.989, or basically 100 units are what's left.
Yeah, I know.
All right, so be ready for the quiz tomorrow.
I should be.